Welcome to Those Guys Sports. It is your boy Mike, and of course, we have to talk about the fact that Fred Vanvleet is gone. He's gone. He left. He had to do what he had to do. I was going to do my initial reaction yesterday, but while it was all going down, I happened to be at the Blue Jays game watching them lose. Blue Jays lost 5-0. I don't know what was more depressing, watching the Blue Jays lose or watching Fred VanVleet leave the way he left. And let's just talk. Free agency was fun, like it's still going on now. I just looked at my phone and there's a report. Twitter's kind of going up and down right now, but there's a report that Damian Lillard is looking to leave. Dame time is about to be bye-bye time, gone time. Dame is going to leave. We don't know where he's going to go. Most likely he's going to Miami. I think it's like 90% he's going to go to Miami. There may be a Brooklyn chance because he does like Mikal Bridges, but we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But the man to talk about is about the man behind me. He at 6 o'clock had a meeting with Messiah and Bobby. They probably sat down, talked about the number. There's always going to be rumored numbers. There's always going to be like, this is going to be this, it's going to be that. So the rumor number was 4 for 120. Could have been 4 for 130 that the Raptors were going to do. They could have done much higher, but this is what they were going for. I think we all know Mr. Bet on Yourself, Fred VanVleet. He thinks he likes his money. He does, but he also wants to win. I think Bobby and Messiah were like, no, you're going to win here. You're the captain. You're our point guard. This is your team. You're one of the guys, one of the mainstays from the championship in 2019. And I'm pretty confident that, Fred was probably thinking about that. But if the Raptors are going to offer you 4 years, 120, maybe 130 mil, but Houston's going to offer you one less year and the same amount of money, so you're going to get more money per year, Fred VanVleet, Mr. Bet on Yourself, he bet on himself. And guess what? He got the bag. And no matter what, Fred is a smart guy. He knows the way the league is going. He can easily get this bag. And Houston, when they're actually ready to win a title, will probably trade Fred, even though I think he'd be a pretty good asset to them going into the future, especially with a Jabari Smith Jr., with Tari Eason, with the Sengun, who I really like, and with the Jalen Green. But now, he got his money. He got the 40 million plus a year. He was looking for it, and he deserves it. At the end of the day, he was an all-star. Potentially could have been an all-NBA player that a few years back. He's an NBA championship. He's a proven winner. Even in college, he's a proven winner. Some people will dislike it. Some people will be like, it's a little bit of overpriced. But I can see with the way the contracts are going, there is going to be guys who are going to be literally overpriced and guys who are just going to go for the minimum. Like, you could look at a Georgie Yang. I thought maybe he could have went for more, but he really didn't. He went for like 12 mil. Dennis Schroeder probably could have went for a 15, 16, but went for like a 12, 13. Like, some of these guys are not going to get a lot of money, where a guy like Fred, a guy like Jeremy Grant are going to get the bag. And Fred got the bag. So let's talk about it from a Raptors perspective. It sucks to lose your point guard. I know a lot of fans are actually happy that Fred is gone, but what they're mad about and what they don't like is the fact that Fred has left for nothing. We lost Kawhi for nothing. We lost Danny for nothing. And then Serge and Mark, we lost for nothing. Kyle, we did get in a signing trade. And I still see from Blake Murphy that there may be a potential chance that we'll do another small signing trade, maybe get a player, maybe some second round picks if Houston wants to do it. But it's up to Houston. Houston doesn't have to do that. They didn't have to do it at all. I don't think Miami had to do it then either. I think they just almost did us a solid. We're hoping maybe that Houston would do us a solid, but you never know. Maybe if Houston drafts a multiple players, maybe, or not drafts, gets more players, maybe they'll do that. But yeah, it sucks to lose your captain. It sucks to lose him for nothing. I do want to push back to any Raptor fan who believes that, oh, we should have got something from. We should trade him in the deadline. Yeah, that would have been good. I know there was a potential trade of Fred VanVleet for Grayson Allen, I think a second round pick. Some fans like, oh, I'd rather that than nothing. No, I actually wouldn't rather that. Like, actually, I'm glad we didn't do that. I'm glad that Fred's value is clearly this much, and we couldn't do it. I think from a Raptors perspective, you just couldn't go that much money for that much years for respectfully an all-star player in Fred VanVleet, but a guy that you don't want him to be your number one or number two guy. You want the team to kind of go a Pascal and Scotty route and then maybe an OG route. You kind of want Fred to just be a veteran leader presence to kind of help the guys, another shooting threat. Like you kind of want that for Fred, but Fred probably wants more, a little bit more of a role, and where Toronto I think was probably going into a different direction, even though some people may disagree with that. So I do think from the Raptors perspective, it sucks to lose Fred. Um, I don't know what they're gonna, the point guard may be a Dennis Schroeder because we had signed him. I don't think so. I think we're gonna do Point Scotty, and I'll probably make a future video about how much I think Point Scotty is gonna be a good thing. I like the thought of it that he went into college as he wants to be a point guard. He plays ball like he wants to be a point guard. His favorite player is Magic Johnson, or the player he tries to make his game out of is like a Magic Johnson. So I'm kind of okay with that. And you go Gary at the two. If we can upgrade the Gary position, I would, but you can't. You already have heard that they're gonna do like some sort of deal soon with a Gary. It'll probably be like a 3 to 4 year, 110, 120 for Gary Trent. So I would expect Gary to have a much better season, especially with a new coach and not a coach who's going to be like putting him down every 2 seconds like Nick Nurse did. Um, but yeah, I know Raptor fans they're not happy. They're not happy at all. And I think, like I said, what they're not happy about is the fact that we didn't get anything for him. We should have traded him. A lot of people would have said we didn't get. We're losing another person for nothing. So this, like I said, I'm gonna push back again. Kawhi and Danny were free agents. We kind of knew the whole deal with Kawhi. Plus, he won us a title, so we weren't never going to get anything from the Kawhi trade anyway. So, and there's nothing we would have got. So that's one. Two, Danny once again free agent, went to LA, won the title there. So can't say that. Serge and Mark once again were free agents. Mark went to LA. Serge, I believe, wanted to stay, but we just decided not to keep him. I think that's one thing. And I always said losing Serge was one of the bigger mistakes that we had as an organization because I always knew that we're going to need a center, and Serge would have been a pretty good center throughout this whole time. But I lost him. I think Serge to me is the one who hurts the most that we lost. I think honestly it hurts more than losing Fred. And I think we are going to need a point guard. I think they tried it with Giannis being the point forward at one point, and eventually they got Drew Holiday. So they're going to need something like that. I won't be surprised in a year or two we get Fred back, and it's Fred. It's kind of like the Drew Holiday of the Raptors at one point with Scotty being a Giannis type. I don't know. It's just wishful thinking, I think, for my part. But yeah, like I just pushed back on the fact that the Raptors could have done other things during the trade deadline. At the end of the day, you know, it takes two to tango. If the other team is just not providing the proper value, then you're not going to do the trade. Maybe Messiah and Bobby are second guessing it, like, oh, maybe we should have traded Fred, maybe we should have traded OG, because now I think if you trade OG, you're not going to get the draft compensation that at the time you could have got if the rumors were true of getting 3 to 4 first round picks. I don't believe that you're going to get that same draft compensation. And what a lot of people don't know is you don't know how if it was pick protected. It could have been maybe one unprotected, but three like top 5 protected. And maybe Masai and Bobby wanted, top 4 top maybe a top 1 protected. But they probably didn't want like to give all these protections for this other team. So then they would almost lose these picks. You don't want to do all that. That's one of the things you don't want to do. Yeah. So where do they go from here? Where do the Raptors go from here? Well, we signed Pirtle. I should probably talk about Pirtle too. Pirtle signs for a 4 year, 80 mil. That's 20 mil a year. I think the fourth year is a player option. And depending on where he's at in his career, he probably will keep it. Pirtle's good. It does suck he's losing his pick and roll a partner in Fred, but I do believe that with an increased shot from a Scotty and Pascal, and I mean shooting the a jumper. I do think that can still be a good pick and roll. I think Dennis Schroeder could be a good pick and roll person with him. You still have a Malachi who could be a good pick and roll. So I expect something like that. But I think the Raptors, they have their $4 million to dish out. So who knows where that can go. They signed, of course, like I said, Pirtle. They got Dennis Schroeder, who I would rather come off the bench and kind of make the bench better. put a lot of shooting around a Dennis, and he himself can give you like 10 to 12 points a game. I think him and Chris Boucher would be a pretty good tandem for some reason. I don't know why. I just think those two would probably be good together. Um, but yeah, you have 4 million to spend. You kept that Young's contract, which I think I told everyone before. I was okay with it. I know you, you're not going to be over the luxury tax. You can still now touch the first apron or the second apron, which you're probably going to touch because Jeremy Grant got like a lot of money, and I'm pretty sure OG and his representative are like, oh, I'm a better defender than him, so give us the bread. There's already reports that OG would like to have more minutes, not more minutes, more ball handling duties, I should say. I don't think so. I don't think no. I don't think so. I do not want OG to have more ball handling duties. I think we've seen that. I think can be a better 3-and-D player in that sense, or more of a two-way player. But I don't want to see him handle the ball more. That's something I want. I want Pascal. I want Scotty. Now my expectations for those two guys are like, oh, I'm expecting like 7 assists from both of them. I'm expecting 7 assists from both of them. Of course, you need the team to score more, but that's what I would expect. I would want them to do more from that standpoint because those two are now your two best players, the two guys that you're going to run with the franchise with, unless you trade a Pascal or an OG. And I know a lot of people are going to say, like, trade Pascal now, right? You lost Fred, trade Pascal. What's the point? Start fresh, start fresh. But now with the rumors of Damian Lillard leaving, what's the point of doing that? Why trade Pascal? Because you could have just put him to Portland and got Scoot Henderson if that was a deal that Portland was willing to do. But I don't think that's now they're definitely not doing that. They're going to now go young. Dame is going to leave. I would still like to see if the Raptors can package a Thad, a Boucher. I think maybe you have to put one more person in that deal. Yeah, you would Thad, Boucher, probably one more person for an Anthony Simons. That's a player that I think I would want on the Raptors. I think that would make him much better. A guy who can give you like 25 points a game, honestly. I just think that would be good. Now, once again, you still want Scotty Pascal to be the future, especially with an OG. But if Portland's going to tear it down, I say you trade away Anthony Simons, you really give it to Scoot and Sharp, and you'll have some veteran presence with Boucher and that, which especially with Boucher, you can probably flip them for maybe a second rounder if you're Portland. That's something that the Raptors can kind of think of. I don't suspect them to go for an Anthony Simons. It's something that I would like to see them do. But yeah, if you asked me yesterday, like how I was feeling about losing Fred, it was shitty at the time because I'm like, man, he really is really gone. But Houston got a good guy. The only thing I'm a little confused about, well, I think it's clear. Let's be honest here. Fred went for the money. Like he did it for the money. He didn't do it to win because he's not winning in Houston. He knows he's not winning in Houston. He will be the starting point guard on that team. It'll be him, Jalen Green. Who they get out of their draft again? Amin Thompson. So like they're gonna get like they have some guys, right? But they're all young. And the rumor always was that Fred and Scotty didn't get along at all. So if they didn't get along, I don't know how the hell he's gonna get along with a bunch of young guys, especially guys like Jalen Green, who you're hoping can take another leap, but maybe not. Right? Smith Jr. Will he take it? Kevin Porter Jr. there? We don't know. So Fred going with this young guys, clearly he wanted the bag, and he's gonna get traded. I don't know how long he'll be on Houston, but he'll either get traded this year or next year. I don't expect this guy to be on this team the following year. I just don't see it happen. I think there would be a team like maybe the Clippers that will trade almost all their like half their guys because it's a big contract for a Fred VanVleet. But yeah, man, this is a huge news that happened. This is big. We lost our point guard. Raptors technically don't have a starting point guard. I think Dennis Schroeder is a good player. He bet on himself the opposite way, so to speak. And well, the opposite result happened. But even so, he's gone multiple contracts. This is another contract. He can still feed his family with this contract. So it's still better than most of us who are, can say anything. But ultimately speaking, shout outs to Fred, shout outs to his family, shout outs to Bet on Yourself. Mr. Bet on Yourself really did. And he was undrafted to now be, 3-year, $130 million. That's spectacular for him, for the Raptors. It is what it is. Masai and Bobby just didn't want to take it there. They couldn't. they couldn't in their right mind. And a lot of people will agree, like Fred maybe doesn't deserve the $40 million. He's a good player, and you can think he's a $40 million player all you want, which is fine. But I don't think Bobby and Masai believed that Fred VanVleet was a $40 million player. They just couldn't see it. They just couldn't fathom saying like Fred VanVleet is a $40 million player, and we're gonna pay him on our Toronto Raptors, who are just 41 and 41, this amount. Um, Now we're gonna make multiple videos about where this leaves the Raptors. They're really in like such a middle ground where you have teams like Cleveland, who I thought got much better. I think now they have a starting small forward and a Max Strus. I think you have a good bench guy in the Jordan Yang. You have 3-point shooting. I am already predicting the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be the number one seed in the Eastern Conference next year. I definitely could see them going to like second round, third round for sure. I see them as much better. I know they're trying to trade Garland, but I don't see why that would make any sense. I don't know what they would get from that. Um, Unless you really want to put Donovan at the point, which once again, I don't see why we do that. I think they're fine where they are with the young talent they have and everything that they have. Still signed Karis LeVert. That's a good team, of course. Pacers, they everyone knows the amount was a lot for Bruce Brown. But it is what it is. So all these teams got better. I don't really see everyone's saying that DiVincenzo will go to the Knicks. Maybe as I say this, he's already gone. So I'm curious what the Knicks are going to do. But I don't think they should be silent. Maybe they'll be in the James Harden sweepstakes as well. Philly, Embiid's going to want to leave soon. And once again, New York can maybe think of that Embiid if they want to. Maybe they should just tank and get some picks. But do they really want to start this again? The process was so long just to trade everyone is kind of shitty. But yeah, the Raptors, it's a little bit stuck. Chicago even got better. So I don't know what the Raptors are gonna do. Like, it's fun, but that's just more conversation we're gonna have. Pirtle, like I said, got signed, so at least we got Pirtle back. Let's see and we got a new member, Dennis Schroeder. So we're gonna have to see all that. My cameras right now is unclear because I'm moving around so much. But make sure you like and subscribe. See me on TikTok as well. I have to post more on TikTok. I'm gonna do a video just now on TikTok. Dame is also trying to leave, so let's see my Raptors. I'll do a podcast probably another day about the whole Raptors and the league and all these trades and all that stuff. But like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys again very soon. Peace and happy Canada Day for all the Canadians.